Hey guys, and welcome to the first video of me creating my dream team in CSGO. Now, a lot of you guys have been requesting videos about me talking about the dream team. Like, if you were to create a team that could beat any team out there in the world, whether that would be Vitality, Astralis, Na'Vi, C9 for that matter, if you want to have a little fun with it. You guys want to know what the absolute best combination of players could be when it comes to Counter-Strike. And of course, it's a very, very subjective thing. It's something where you have different preferences, but I will try to create my team. I'll try to assemble the team that I think could be the best team in the world for the future to come as well. It's gonna be a fun little concept right here, and I will also do videos, you know, that is specialized in certain countries. So for example, if you guys have an idea to what country I should do next, it could be the dream team from Sweden, or the dream team from Germany, or the dream team from Bosnia, or the Russian dream team, or the Danish dream team. Make sure to comment below and let me know what kind of dream team you want me to assemble next time I do one of these videos.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. It means a lot. Now, if you want to go the extra mile and help me out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I can see only 30% of you guys watching the videos, you're subscribed. Furthermore, if you want to be a real OG, don't forget to put on the notification. It would help me out massively. Thank you so much.
Now I'm gonna start off with an international dream team. The dream team that can beat any teams in the world, where I will pick players from whatever teams I want to. Now I'm gonna use HLTV to help me a little bit, just to filter out the players so we don't have too many to choose from. So if you head into HLTV, the stats page, you can take the last 12 months, so only relatively active players that are playing right now. You can ranking the top 30 teams, top 30 players playing against each other, so you don't have all those stats hunters out there who play, you know, not so good tournaments have had inflated stats. So this gives me this list, you know, where names like ZywOo, s1mple, Blame, Nico, Dev1ce, you name it, all here on the list. Coldzera down here as well. So these are the players I have to choose from, and honestly, these are the tiers I want to choose from. First and foremost, I want to pick my in-game leader. And the first guy that comes into mind will be a guy like Karrigan, for an example. We have very, very, very high, dare say, standards when it comes to in-game leaders in Denmark. There's Karrigan, you have had MSL back in the days who were a decent in-game leader. You have, of course, Glaive, who I think is the best in-game leader in the world as of right now. Also recently back inside the role, so no longer Magisk calling for Astralis. In Denmark, there's a lot of good in-game leaders. If you look outside of Denmark, you have interesting prospects like Nexa. You have him playing for G2, doing a fantastic work within that lineup. You had Fallen in MIBR, who for a couple of years, you know, were up there, you know, to be considered one of the best in-game leaders out there. You have a guy like Apex now playing in Vitality, but when you look at the field of in-game leaders, there's really not that many you can choose from. Now, Glaive is not on this list, as Glaive is a player, you know, who's been having a bit of a break. Let's put it that way. Glaive took a sick leave when he was in Astralis, so we're just going to filter in 2019 so we can get him on the list. Somewhere he should be hiding, and there we go. We got Glaive. And he will be the first guy I'm going to pick to launch my team. Glaive is, to my understanding, the best in-game leader in the world. What he's done with Astralis is fantastic. He's won 4 majors. He's coming into a lineup when Karrigan was the in-game leader. They kicked him, brought in Glaive, and he sort of redefined the way Astralis played Counter-Strike. Glaive as a player as well, not a bad fragger. You can see his rating is 1.05. He has a decent amount of impact in the rounds. His ADR is not bad, and kills per round 0.65. Of course, not as good as my career, but still up there, you know, and he's playing against some of the best teams in the world. So when it comes to pure in-game leading skills, I think Glaive is the go-to guy. I'm having an easy time saying that, because as I said, there's not that many to choose from. I forgot to talk about Blame F, of course, being one of the highest fracking in-game leaders. You could name a guy like Tapson as well, who's a good fragger and an in-game leader. But I don't want the high fracking in-game leader. I want the in-game leader on my team who is a decent fragger, but who can facilitate a system where my high fracking player will thrive well. I don't want Glaive to be the fragger. I don't want him to frag, you know, 30 kills a game. I want to let other players on my team do that. So I'm gonna bring in Glaive to my dream team, and he's gonna be the first addition. So we can put him into my document I got over here. Player 1, of course, that's gonna be the in-game leader. Glaive's age, well, that's another interesting thing, right? He's 25 years of age, so he's relatively old in the sense that he's not young anymore, but 25 years of age is not old for a guy like Glaive. He is experienced without being too old. He still has a couple of good years in him, at least I would say. When it comes to Counter-Strike players, I can do a video separately from this one about how do they age, you know, can you play pro Counter-Strike when you're 30 years old? My personal opinion is sure you can. It's all about your motivation, it's all about your dedication, all about how much time you put into the game. So being 25 years old It's not a problem for Glaive. That's a good age as an in-game leader. Experienced, has won it all. I want him on my team and nobody else. To be honest, it was between Glaive and Elige B. I think Elige B is a very underrated in-game leader. And the reason why it was between Elige B and Glaive is that Elige B reminds me a lot of Glaive. But Glaive, of course, is a more proven in-game leader. He's won more, and I think Glaive as a fragger is as good as Elige B. So it was a no-brainer for me. Relatively easy to pick Glaive for this lineup. So the second player I want in my lineup, I want to find out who is going to be the AWP player. Because there's a lot of players to choose from, right? Just looking at this list, some of the highest players in the world, ZywOo, s1mple. You have a guy like Dev1ce, definitely up there, being one of the best AWP players out there. Then it gets a little bit thin, right? You have Kenny S, still somewhat decent. You have a guy like Cadian, who's an in-game leader, so that's going to be a no-go. Not really on the level with the other guys either, but still a relatively decent AWP player. You have guys who can use the AWP, who don't use it that much, you know, JW. Not really at the level anymore. He's been struggling a little bit. Stu2K within Liquid, not really playing the AWP that much, you know. So I think it's only fair to talk about the real candidates, right? You can choose between ZywOo, s1mple, and Dev1ce. They also represent a different style. So you have ZywOo being a very smart player, very calculated, good with the rifles, good with the deagles, good with the pistol. He does it all. He is the best player of 2019. He was the #1 player in 2019, and he is strongly candidating to be the best player of 2020 as well. I think, of course, it's between him and s1mple, and that is my next subject right here. Because s1mple is not as well-rounded, I would say, as ZywOo. s1mple, when he peaks, when s1mple is at his best, I think there's no better player in the world than s1mple. He is absolutely unplayable. The AWP, the rifle, the pistols, everything he does. Now, s1mple is not as good a teammate as ZywOo. In Vitality, I think, and I sense that ZywOo is a guy that even want to sacrifice sometimes for the team. He's a guy that doesn't really take too much space within the team, whereas you know s1mple, he can be very emotional. Now, I can understand why that is when you're s1mple, you're the best player in the world, and you have never won a major, and you really have that drive to win. But as a team, you know, I want a team in harmony, and I want a team where nobody is bigger than the team. Because I believe that is the success. If you have a team where one player sees himself above the team, long term, that's not going to be a success. And that is the reason why I'm going to rule out s1mple from my dream team. You may take that as an offense, you may not agree with that, and I am totally on board with your reasoning. He is such a good player that it's hard to leave him out of my team. But I want a team in synergy, in harmony. That's why s1mple is not going to be the guy. So that leaves Dev1ce against ZywOo. Now, Dev1ce is a fantastic AWP player, but when it comes to his peak level, I think Dev1ce is not as good as ZywOo, and I think that's been proven the last couple of years. Dev1ce is not as consistent as ZywOo anymore. Dev1ce used to be Mr. Consistent, and he still is Mr. Consistent. I still think to this day that Dev1ce is one of the most underrated players when it comes to Counter-Strike, but ZywOo is just taking over that brand. You know, he is Mr. Consistent. ZywOo is just Dev1ce in a better package, you know, in a better version. I do think Dev1ce, and that's knowing, you know, knowing Glaive, having played with Glaive as well, having played with Dev1ce once in a while, I think he's a great teammate. I think he offers a lot to the team. He doesn't take away too much space. He's not a guy, again, you know, that is going to create any dysfunctional stuff within the team. But when it comes to the raw skill and when it comes to the player I want on my team, I'm going to pick ZywOo. And I think the stat speaks for themselves. 1.29 rating the past 12 months, that is. Absolutely fantastic. 0.81 kills per round. Fantastic. ADR as an AWP player, 85.2. Fantastic. So we're going to put ZywOo into this lovely little document. AWP player, of course. ZywOo's age, not old, right? 20 years of age. And as said, the rating the past 12 months is 1.29. Don't forget that his rookie year, last year, he was the best player in the world. And even in 2020, if he finished off strong, he could be the best player in 2020. Player number 3, I want my hardcore fragger. I want my fragger number 1, if I can say it that way, with the rifle. You look at these players. You have candidates, and I would even go as far as saying s1mple could be a candidate here, because he can play the rifle to a very high level, but he's better with the AWP, so I don't want to take that away from him. You can even put in a guy like Blamef, who's currently the in-game leader in complexity, but as a fragger, he's fantastic. Nico, Rups. You got a guy like Mer, who's a surprise at the list. Maybe not a lot of you guys know him, but he's doing a fantastic job right now in Spirit. Not gonna consider him. You got Electronic, you got Elige, you got Hunter, Nico's cousin. You got so many good players to choose between. Magisk down as well from Heroic, doing a fantastic job. Config as an entry fragger. There's many guys to go with right here. Taps and Dupree. I'm not limited when I need to choose my riflers, but I'm gonna narrow it in a little bit. I think the best fragger right now when it comes to raw fragging ability, when it comes to being in an environment where you don't take too much space away, you're not necessarily the entry fragger, you're just a guy that has to frag out and be stable with the rifle. I'm gonna pick Rups on my lineup. You may get surprised by that, but ZywOo is a fantastic player. Well, he's young, he's 20 years of age, his rating the past 12 months is 1.18, and he's been playing in mousesports who've been struggling big time the last year. They haven't really been able to find their footing in 2020. They were the best team in 2019 at some point. When we finished 2019, they were ranked number 1 in the world for a little bit of a time, and ever since it's been up and down. They've been through some roster changes, but the one stable that has been within mousesports is ZywOo. ZywOo is a fantastic player. I want a strong rifle, a rifle that is smart, a rifle that is young, a rifle that can frag. His ADR 80.1, kill per round 0.77, and don't forget that is stats in mousesports when they've been struggling. Imagine when mousesports gets back to a good level where they're going to win a lot of the matches they have been losing. And again, a team with synergy, a team with harmony. I want ZywOo on my lineup, so we're going to put him in there as player number 3, and his rating the past 12 months, as I said, 1.18. A fantastic prospect right here in ZywOo. He can fill out many roles. Role player, be the anchors on certain bomb site, but he's in general just a hardcore fragger who do not take away a lot of space. Now, the next player I want, player number 4, I want an entry fragger. One who can do the job with the rifles, one who can go crazy, one who creates the space for the teammates. Again, you look at guys like Nico, you look at guys like BlameF could still be in there, Elige, Electronic, Hunter. I would even go as far as saying, you know, Magisk, Config, Nefly for that matter, Tapston, if you weren't an in-game leader, Dupree. There's many good entry fraggers out there. Valde is a great prospect as well. I think ZywOo and Valde reminds me of each other, so I don't want him on my lineup. Plenty of players you could pick from. Crims as well, a fantastic role player, has been in the past. Res, great entry fragger, great player in general for NIP, but not really up there where he were a couple of years ago. Twist as well. Coldzera, we haven't even talked about him. One of the best players in the world to play Counter-Strike, but as of right now, not really in shape to be in this conversation. The guys I'm going to choose between here is going to be Nico, Electronic, and then Config. Now, Config is the wild card right here. Config is a great entry fragger, and in complexity, he seems like he's thriving right now. As a pure entry fragger, I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best, and I think he's one of the best cause he never steers away from a fight. He always goes for the fight. He doesn't care. He does not care. If he can fight, he will. If he can create space, he will. And he doesn't care about dying. You can look at his stats, and you can even have a look right here. I think we can see it directly translated, right? He dies a lot. He dies a lot. His kills per round, 0.74, not that much, but his impact, right? Compared to some average stats around, his impact is very high because of the way he plays aggressive Counter-Strike player. Now, Config is a very interesting prospect. He's Danish, he's nice, I know him, but I'm not going to choose him for my lineup because I do think there's two players who does that to a better extent, and that would be Electronic and Nico. Electronic may be the best entry fragger in 2019. He's been having a bit up and down turmoil right now in 2020. He's been in good periods, he's been in bad periods. Right now he's playing well, but he's not the same Electronic in 2019. I think if I had to make my dream team in 2019, I would have gone with Electronic, but since we're in 2020, I'm gonna go with Nico. To me, one of the most skilled players Counter-Strike have ever seen. You look at the way he's aiming, you look at his crosshair placement, you look at the way he entry frags, you look at the way he plays out clutches when he's in a clutch. This is one of the most well-rounded players in the world when it comes to rifling. Now, as a personality, I know he can be hard to handle, and I made the point that I want a team with synergy. Big part of the reason why I picked Glaive, he's a guy you respect. He's a guy that can tell Nico, you need to shut the F up, you need to listen, and you need to play for the team. You can have a big personality if the rest of the guys are okay with that. But Nico, he is a well-spoken guy when it comes to English. He's one of the most well-rounded players I think Counter-Strike has ever seen when it comes to rifling. His secondary AWP skills are fantastic, and you need a secondary AWP player on this lineup. He's doing a fantastic job in all those aspects, so I want to bring in Nico to my lineup. He was struggling a little bit with finding his form in FaZe, right? FaZe Clan, the majority of 2019, he was with them, 2020 as well, and he wasn't doing too well. FaZe Clan wasn't doing too well. He was even in-game leading. Now he's within G2. He's getting the space he needs. He's at a 1.18 rating, you know, maybe having one of the worst seasons of his career in terms of winning stuff. So the prospect and the possibility you have with a guy like Nico on the lineup and the potential is immense. I want Nico on my lineup. There's no doubt about it. As an entry fragger, as a rifle, he can do so much for your team. And as I said, I think he'll work well with the likes of Glaive, ZywOo, ZywOo. Now the fifth player, I want, of course, another rifler, but I want it to be a supportive element to the team. Now, when I say supportive element, I don't need a designated support player. I'm not looking at a guy who's only going to throw flashes and all that kind of stuff. I need a guy who is willing to sacrifice to be a player that can function within this team, but can hold us to his own. So if I put my player towards Ivy on train, for example, I expect that player not to need too much help, just hold Ivy. Or if I put him inside towards train, this is your position, hold it. Ramp on nuke, you're going to be placed right here. You're going to be an anchor. Hold it. I don't need to help you. I don't need to worry about you. I don't need you to drop 25 frags or 30 frags every game. I just need you to be a stable player. Now, when it comes to supportive elements to the team, right? Elige, unfortunately to me, he's not a player I'm going to include in this lineup. He could be a fantastic player to have on a lineup in terms of skill. I think he could be a bit more supportive. He's a smart guy, but I don't think that's when you get the most out of Elige. It's the same with s1mple, right? I don't want s1mple to be my supportive element because, again, the synergy within the team, s1mple is not going to be accepting to be placed on towards ramp. He's not going to be accepted to be A-long on Dust 2, for example. He wants to be involved. He wants to move around. So you're looking at guys who can do that job. And I think a very interesting player that comes into mind is Magisk. I think when he took over the in-game leading role for Astralis, when Glaive was not there, he turned into a player who was willing to sacrifice. Of course, Magisk reminds you a little bit like Rubs, you know. They play some of the same positions. And this is the whole point I'm going to make here, because I'm going to choose Magisk to my lineup, right? You could go with guys like Sipnix. You could go with other supportive elements. I would even say Naf is a candidate. Valde, I guess, technically as well could be in the discussion as well. A guy like Nico from Heroic doing a good job right now, but you want the best of the best, right? So when you have a supportive element, you need him to be strong. And I would like to have both Rubs and Magisk on my lineup because they remind me a lot of each other, and that way they can share that role as the supportive element. I think Magisk, for the majority of my team, would be the guy, you know, taking the biggest loss. You know, he'd be placed towards A-long on Dust 2. I wanted to hold ramp on Nuke. Positions he's not familiar with right now. He's B on Dust 2 as of right now. He's playing inside on Nuke, for example. But I think he has the abilities to do so. And I think he's shown me that he's willing to sacrifice. So bring in a guy like Magisk to the lineup, you know. You have two supportive elements, you know, where Magisk being the lead one, and then Rubs can be the secondary one. For example, Rubs likes to play inside on Train, where Magisk right now is playing Ivy. So I wouldn't change that. I would let Magisk play Ivy, potentially be the secondary up on Train, and let Rubs do what he does so well on the inside. Now, if I pick Sipnix, I would have to put Rubs towards Ivy, and I'll have to let Sipnix play inside, because that's the only place he's ever played. I think Magisk is way more versatile, and that's why I'm going to pick him as my 5th player to this lineup. He's a fantastic fit to this lineup. I believe his rating is 1.11 the past 12 months. Bear in mind that that's when Astralis was struggling a little bit. They haven't been as dominant. Magisk as well, he all of a sudden had to transition into an in-game leader. He's been taking a lot of responsibility. He's been sacrificing a lot. So the fact that he's willing to do that, the fact that he still had a decent season, a decent rating, 1.11 is by no means bad at all things considered. I think Magisk would be the perfect fit to my team. So you look at a team right now where you got Glaive, you got ZywOo, you got Rubs, you got Nico, and you got Magisk. Fantastic team. And I think the synergy in between the players right here is going to be great. Now, there's one thing I do need for this dream team. There's one thing I do want, and that is a coach, right? The coaches, I can't find in here because it's kind of tough to find the coaches on this list, so I'm just going to talk about them a little bit. When it comes to coaching, it's hard to see what kind of coach, you know, you can put into a lineup like this. Of course, what comes into mind is the likes of Zeus, from Evil Geniuses, my former coach in Liquid, a fantastic dude. You got the Sonics of the world, you got Blade from Na'Vi, you got Kassad from Cloud9, I think a very underrated coach. There's a lot of coaches out there. Extas from Vitality. Unfortunately, I can't pick him because he's only French speaking. I think that's going to be a problem with this lineup, so I need someone who's comfortable in English. You had YNK doing it for FaZe for a certain period, you know. I want a coach who is proven, and I want a coach who has shown me that he's able to take a team from this level to this level. The easy choice would be to put in Sonic, but that would be too easy. I don't want to be cheating on this one. That's too easy. Of course, Sonic with Glaive, synergy, all that kind of stuff. It's the easy pick. Now, I'm going to go with a coach that I've seen take a team from this level and put them up to this level. All right? And that is going to be Kassad. I think he's a severely underrated coach. I think his work ethic is fantastic. I think his desire for the game is fantastic. He's passionate about the game. A guy that I would have liked to play under, not going to lie, when I was still a player. I think we can even find him right here. So we can put a name towards Kassad. Yes. He's old as well, 34 years of age. A player who's, or coach who's been a player, and now a coach who's been around for quite some time. He took Renegades, the Australian version of Renegades, the 100 Thieves, and he took them from being a decent team to be a top team. A team that could potentially win tournaments, a team that won tournaments, a team that was once placed number 4, number 3 in the entire world, and I don't think they had the player material to do that. Like, they were nowhere close to be a level of team where they were justified being so high up in the rankings. He did that as a coach, and that's what I want him to do with my team as well. And strong. And I mean strong in his opinions, right? He has a vision and he want to enforce that to his players. He's all about the hard work. And, you know, we know today you can have such a skilled lineup as you see on the screen right here, but without the hard work, there's no way it's going to work. He's 34 years old and he's from Serbia, if I'm not mistaken. And his rating, well, it doesn't really matter. Now, another thing about him, you know, I want to facilitate the relationship between the players. So you have Glaive, he's gonna hook up with Magisk, you know, good synergy, both Danish know each other. Now Nico, my star rifler, my entry fragger, I want him to feel as comfortable as possible, and I want him to feel that he has a say as well when it comes to the team. Kassad and him, well, they're more or less best friends, right? They know each other well, they respect each other, and I'm sure Nico would like to play for Kassad one day. So them having a synergy, you know, you're already building it up. It's like when you're playing FIFA Ultimate. You need synergy in between the players in order for them to perform even better. Now, ZywOo, to me, seems like the guy who doesn't give a damn about that. He's just gonna kill and kill and kill and kill and kill, so he doesn't need any, you know, extra catering in that sense. Whereas for Rups, same thing applies. That's why I picked him. He's, as a personality, I think he will fit in well. He's a great player, a great anchor. And to me, if I look at this lineup and I want to think about the reasoning behind, I think right now I would have assembled a team that can win against anyone in the world. Of course, if you take out Astralis, or if you take out Glaive from Astralis, it's going to be tough for them to win. ZywOo out of Vitality, well, Vitality is no longer going to be the best team in the world, but let's just imagine that Glaive could play for both teams, right? Imaginary here, I think this team would have so much to offer in terms of skill, in terms of raw potential, in terms of know-how, in terms of, you know, playing clutch situations well. I think all players right here are great communicators. ZywOo, when it comes to English, that may be a problem, but we'll put a translator on that dude. And apart from that, right here, I believe I have assembled the best possible dream team that I could. Now, I would like to hear you guys take in the comments below. I would like to hear you guys who you'd switch out, who you'd pick instead, your reasoning behind. You know, tell me which kind of dream team I should make the next time around. It could be a Danish dream team, it could be a Swedish dream team, it could be a Bosnian dream team, it could be a German dream team. You guys let me know what kind of dream team I need to assemble, and I will do it in one of the upcoming videos. I hope you guys like this little thought experiment. It's always fun to play around with the dream teams, and always fun to play around with the potential names you can get on your lineup. And when you look at the players, you look at the stats, I think I've assembled the best possible dream team, and I think you guys are going to struggle to do better than I am. I really, really do think so. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little thought experiment. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and if there's anything I could do better, anything I should change, let me know, and I'll try to do it for the next video. Thank you so much for supporting me. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a comment below, as I said a couple of times already, and don't forget to share the video to all your friends and all that kind of stuff, and start the discussion. If you have an idea of a better team, feel free to tag me on either Twitter or Instagram with your dream team, and I'll give you a response as much as I can. You guys have a good day. I'll get back to work here from the hotel in Sweden, where I am currently working at the DreamHack Masters NA tournament as an analyst and as a commentator. It's been a pleasure, guys. Bye-bye.